Wandieze, co-director Adventist Singles World Online. We are here to inform all our friends, all our followers on social media, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, that we will be bringing live sessions on salient issues affecting singles and married. We're looking forward to seeing you as you join us on these live sessions. You can follow us on all our socials at Adventist Singles World on Instagram, Adventist Singles World on YouTube, Adventist Singles World on Facebook, as we're bringing you live events, program, people, experiences shared here on Adventist Singles World. We look forward to seeing you. Hi, my name is Wandieze, co-director Adventist Singles World Online. We are here to inform all our friends, all our followers on social media, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, that we will be bringing live sessions on salient issues affecting singles and married. We're looking forward to seeing you as you join us on this live session. Follow us on all our socials at Adventist Singles World on Instagram, Adventist Singles World on YouTube, Adventist Singles World on Facebook, as we're bringing you events, program, people, experiences shared here on Adventist Singles World. We look forward to seeing you. Hi, my name is Wandieze, co-director Adventist Singles World Online. We are here to inform all our friends, all our followers on social media, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, that we will be bringing live sessions on salient issues affecting singles and married. We're looking forward to seeing you as you join us on these live sessions. You can follow us on all our socials at Adventist Singles World on Instagram, Adventist Singles World on YouTube, Adventist Singles World on Facebook, as we're bringing you live events, program, people, experiences shared here on Adventist Singles World. We look forward. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are all over the world. Welcome to Adventist Singles World Online. We said we were going to bring you a very, very interesting topic on pornography on our first and maiden edition here at the Adventist Singles World. This is the sole session here at Adventist Singles World, and with us here today to discuss the subject of pornography are two very vibrant youth. We have a single with us here and also have the married with us here, because it's a very, very widespread topic. The topic covers a whole lot of age demography, the marital status and all that. And they are here with us today. We are very good to have in our midst here Dr. Soki Prem Akoko. He's a medical doctor here in Nigeria, and as he would like to call himself, a child of God. He is a man of the people when it comes to clinical advices and other things. He's a clinical pharmacologist and a medical doctor, as we earlier pointed. So you're welcome, Dr. Soki.
Thank you.
And here another very vibrant single, because this program is mainly targeting the singles. We are looking at the singles world on the Adventist Fair and beyond, as a matter of fact. So she happens to be a youth ambassador for the Independent National Electoral Commission here in Nigeria. She is based in Rivers State, Port Harcourt in Nigeria, and her name is Queen Ikoku. Queen Ikoku is also a child of God, and she is here for this discussion, and she will give us the social aspect of the subject of pornography. She will give us her take on the social aspect of pornography. You're welcome, Queen Ikoku.
Thank you very much.
Without much ado, we want to go into the subject of pornography and look at the effects medically. We look at the effects sometimes economically. We look at the effect of it socially. Subsequently, at the Soul Session, here on the Soul Session, we'll be bringing you pastors to look at the spiritual aspect of pornography in total. We'll go into the subject and delve into it and see what we could make of the subject of pornography. Yes, now to delve into the subject of pornography, we want to start with our doctor here, and we'll be asking some questions that sometimes may be personal, but we'll try as much as possible to be careful so we don't overstep certain boundaries. I know we are here as a community socially to interact and find out how we could have the best possible ways to live right, live healthy, and live a very good spiritual life. Okay, Dr. Sokiprim, I want to ask you this question here now. In your own definition, before we go into the medical aspect of pornography, in your own definition, because everybody has a definition of what pornography is to him, what is pornography?
Okay, so I'd like to keep it simple as any content, any material, any subject matter with a sexual undertone or an expressive sexual inclusion that is used strictly for purposes of arousing sexual desires, or it has some sort of content that encourages the individual to have sexual desires overflown or overblown.
Okay, medically now, is there a definite definition for what pornography really is or what it entails?
Okay, so pornography isn't a medical diagnosis, so we may not truly say there is a medical definition as it were, but they could be seen in the medical world as a response to a particular mental health concern for some people. We could also see pornographic content use in some people as a result of in course of growing up, the content was okayed, by the guardian or by the parents, and as it were, they didn't find a fault in content use, and so those things have now altered brain chemistry to become a normal way of living, and addiction has now set in. So for us in the medical world, that's how we will perceive pornography.
Okay, now you mentioned brain. Now when it comes to brain, you talk about psychology, right? A little bit of psychology.
Yeah.
And now, do you think pornography is more psychological than just physical?
Pornography requires a physical process that now alters the mental state, right? So it comes as not an issue. That's how it starts. I'm not interested. I just see it once in a while. And there's now
Addiction.
Interest. Yes, the addiction grows to the point, comes in when, okay, so take for granted, for every time you're happy, there's a chemical we call dopamine in the brain. It's surge. So to keep that simple, let's imagine a clot line and pegs on the clot line. So you put a clot on the clot line. The chemical itself is the peg that you need to hold the clot with on the clot line. So in your brain is well designed by God such that you have what we call receptors, so that when this dopamine chemical is produced, they fit well to the receptors and they give you the good feeling. So dopamine is the classical example of that. So dopamine in the brain when you're happy, when you're having things that put you in a happy mode, couples having sex, watching a good comedy, and you get excess surge of dopamine, and that gives you the happy feeling. The body wants that feeling to be sustained. So in situations where one uses pornography, dopamine surge also occurs. And if that continues, the body gets used to that feeling. And it comes to the point where they look at it, a 30 minutes pornographic content is suddenly not sufficient. They want to get a 1 hour or a gentle process of foreplay in a pornographic content suddenly isn't attractive anymore. They want a hardcore where one of the partners is being punished like a fetish, like some sort of thing going on,
Yeah.
you know, then, you know, addiction has set in. They can't have sex except they watch pornographic content to get aroused. They, you know, all sorts of things. So at that point, you know, addiction has fully kicked in. At that point, dopamine in the brain is now on the excess, like the clot line. We now have too many pegs, but no clot line to fit in. So that excess is what the person wants every single time. So even when you try to tell the individual, I need you to stop what you're doing. Oh yes, they hear you, but because of that excess surge and the good feeling, they just want to continue. So that's where the challenge is.
Wow, this is really revealing. I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about it when it comes to the aspect of medicals. I mean, it's something that's even beyond what the ordinary mind may perceive pornography to be. Now, let's look at pornography on the social aspect. I know you may have encountered one or two people in your field who have maybe said or mentioned or said one or two, three things about their feeling or arousal, what makes them feel like. Maybe married, maybe single, however. Now, let me just go straight. In your definition, how would you perceive, or how would you say, or what would you say pornography is?
Okay, in my own definition, I think pornography, it's a display of sexual activity or sexual organ to create excitement, to create that sexual urge. You know, to me, that's my definition in the layman language.
Okay, now staying there. Now, I have a stat here I want to mention to our audience here. About 40 million Americans visit the pornographic site regularly. Okay, 35% of the internet downloads are related to pornography. 35%. Now, 34% of internet users have experienced unwanted exposure to pornographic content through ads and regular pop-ups you get on your phone when you, particularly with this Google AdSense thing that is out there. People even have affiliate marketing, online marketing aspect of their businesses online, pornographically related, down direct links and all that. Now, what do you think about this surging number of those people who actually patronize pornography? Do you think it's taking the world in the direction of productivity or not, with regards to what's going on in the social sphere?
If it's taking the world to
a positive side where
of
you to
course
become
no.
more productive.
Of course no.
Now, because they will argue that if I'm an affiliate marketer of a pornographic site, I will make more money than just be an affiliate marketer on the regular site.
It's not really all about the money, you know.
Okay.
Because despite us making money from it, what about the key damages that it does to the young people? Of course, there are a lot of harm that pornography has already done to the young people. Like, it breaks trust. You know, when you're in a relationship with your spouse or with your girlfriend or whomever, and you're watching porn, you know, that trust, you want to hide when the person is coming. Okay, let me take for instance a married man watching porn, and maybe the wife just walked in or walks in. What happened? You want to, you know, hide. So it breaks trust, you know. Then not just that, it obstructs emotional intimacy. You know, sometimes between couples too, sometimes that intimacy, because you are used to porn, you no longer have that intimacy with your spouse, you know. So it does a whole lot of harm. Then again, it decreases satisfaction. Because watching the porn already, there's this sort of satisfaction you get from watching porn. So you don't get that desired satisfaction from your wife, or from your husband. You expect more. You want to go to the extreme because you've already seen so many things on the internet, you know, so you expect more. Then again, it creates unrealistic and unreasonable expectation. Like, you expect your husband or you expect your wife to do more because you've seen a lot. So it has done more harm than good. It's not all about the money. It has done more harm. So let's pause it.
Okay.
And look at it.
Now I know our viewers, our friends on Adventist Singles World, of where this platform is, upon which this program is being aired. You may be thinking, wow, this sister is single and she's saying a lot of things about this. Don't worry, don't be scared, don't be scared. It is better you know and you avoid than you don't know and you fall into the trap.
Exactly.
Okay. Now let's turn to Dr. Soki. In Nigeria alone, this is a start actually. In March 2019, Nigeria took top of the list among 25 countries who visit Pornhub and do several searches on Pornhub. What's your take on that? What do you think is really happening to the minds of Nigerians?
Okay, so I'd like to quickly just throw in something to a definition before we further explain that. So, some sort of artistic expressions have gone as far as using naked people to do some real life portraits, if you understand what I mean. So someone wants to paint the look of a shoe and they get a naked person to fit in to a shoe shape and they make a paint and they do an artistic display. That isn't pornography. That isn't pornography. There's a separate definition for that because the intention is not to arouse sexual urge.
Yeah.
But situations where sexual urges are aroused because of sexual materials, whether video or pictures or animations or whatever, that will be pornography. About an alarming statistics, it's not very interesting to have countries rated tops for bad things. It shows, for me, it expresses another level of idleness. Because people who are actually working hard and trying to make some serious monies to survive themselves or their families may not typically have time to unwind by watching pornographic movies, more pornographic content or materials, as it were. All of these things explains that as a people we need to do too much in trying to safeguard our young people and how they view things on the internet. For terrestrial broadcasts, for instance, you can put a parental guardian control on your TV and all of that, and you restrict viewing. But on social media, you don't have access except you restrict the individual from holding a telephone, a mobile phone or something, and the rest of it is for the person to control. And as long as there is data, and the social network providers now have made life even simpler. With the smallest monies you have, you can get a lot of data and that works just fine. Most times these contents can be downloaded and transferred via all of those transfer apps.
Yeah.
And so it goes on and on. What this tells us in by far is that young people tend to see these perversive behaviors in pornographic content, especially in the videos, as normal. I'll take for granted, I had this subject discussed on another platform one time. And as part of the example, we used to watch Tom and Jerry cartoon when we were growing up as a woman who we never truly saw her face most times as Tom's guardian. If you can remember Tom and Jerry cartoon, you hardly see her. Her face never shows, it's just from the apron down that you see and her legs and all of that. But one of these episodes of that cartoon showed where Tom had a girlfriend and they were actually making out, and that offended Jerry. The sound that they were producing offended Jerry, for instance. And guess what? Tom and Jerry is typically not watched by adults in a larger sense. They're mostly children. You see some cartoons that suggest kissing and being half naked and holding the opposite sex in an indiscriminate and offensive way, if you like. All of these things are suggestive content. So you expect the children to want to explore more. And these things are on the internet. This would contribute to the statistics that you find because we would want to see more. If there's a particular episode that is shown like this in cartoons, it already tells your mind that there could be more of my kind of cartoons that I like that may be showing more content, and I'm going to explore more cartoons, and I'm going to fit into that statistics. I go to see a friend's phone, and I see a porn site, and they say I should not say I'm too small, but I'm able to memorize the name I saw. I go to the porn site myself and gather all my friends who also understand what is going on. Like they say, birds of the same feather, they flock together. Typically, so I'm watching it, we all watch it, and we're all teenagers, and that's how all of these things work. And the more we watch it, it comes to a point where you want to explore. And in exploring, you probably meet the opposite sex who doesn't have the understanding of what is going on. Your best bet is to refer to these porn sites. They go to porn site, they also add to the statistics. All of these people now meet to, like she puts it, while that trust is broken, is because you have a platform to compare. You are seeing this happen to this woman in the video, and you suddenly get excited with how she's moaning, or in the awkward position she's placed in, and you want to now try that with a God-given spouse.
It's pathetic.
It is pathetic, and you expect somebody else's child to be in awkward position that you may have excitement from sex. Now that can be dangerous. I know some people in the social sphere will argue with my point, but I'm not in an argument phase. I'm trying to portray a message which is actually damaging young people. And so we need to be careful, because all of these young people contribute to statistics.
Thank you very much. You just raised something that's very, very important. Now, among those in your field, the field of medicine, we have gynecologists, and sometimes the gynecologists serve as consultants to couples. Do you advise a gynecologist or a sexual consultant of some sort to advise couples to watch porn for arousals or for ways to become better in their sexual life?
So I have my moral position on sexual pornographic content, and I'm going to speak from that perspective because you asked the question. I think it's what I describe as sexual perversion. The intention of God creating sex in marriage is for husband and wife, not husband and wife and picture, or husband and wife and naked couples video, not husband and wife and nothing else. It's just husband and wife, and that's where sex was created, so you can have procreation and for companionship. Watching sexual content to arouse a spouse is bringing a third party into the sex. It's as good as saying husband and wife, husband cannot have an erection from the wife. Maybe, and there are several factors that could be responsible for that medically. You now say, can we have your younger sister to be naked so that I can get attention? And you expect the man to clap for you and call her younger sister. This isn't Sarah Hagar's time. This isn't Rachel's time. This is reality. This is 2022. And you will get punched in the nose for making that kind of statement. So we're saying that all of these things attract troubles to the home, because you see the next time, and if that becomes a lifestyle in the relationship, you soon see that the woman cannot arouse the husband anymore, and that can be more issues in that marriage.
Of course.
Pretty much. So you would not always need a sexual content to get an attention, whereas it could be a medical concern. That's why we're getting erectile dysfunction, as we say, as a diagnosis in medicine. And so a lot of the times it's a matter of seeing the doctor. Sometimes you need to see a urologist as a male. Sometimes you need to see a gynecologist as a woman. Other times you probably would need to see a sex therapist. And all of these people would give you counsels and programs. And once it comes to a medical space, we will not judge you for using pornographic content, but we will talk about it as an ethical or moral issue in a church space in Christendom, because it will be sexual perversion. So I am a doctor I'm also a Christian, and the two married together. I counsel my patients differently. I wouldn't put the sexual content as what I want them to do, but we will have to find a medical cause and treat the cause and get them back to their reproductive and sexual lives.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Stokes, for that very, very informational, informative, well put analysis on what happens when people go for consulting and try to improve their sexual life. And if you're watching, remember you're still on Adventist Singles World Online, and we are live on the Soul Session. Today's topic is on pornography, and remember we have here Queen Ikoku and our Dr. Sokri to discuss the subject. Okay, I want to turn over now to Queen. Queen Ikoku, tell us, some people feel that pornography lifts them up or alleviates them from boredom, some sort of boredom. Do you think pornography is a way out for boredom as a single person, or as someone who advise other singles who are watching? And I know some people are already having, maybe even before tuning into this show, they probably had an urge to go to some site to click on, and somehow they just stumble on this video of pornography and want to see what we're talking about. So, do you think pornography is a good way out of boredom?
Actually, just like what Dr. Soki rightly explained, it's not the right way out of boredom, no. But when addiction sets in, like you were talking about the cutting, the this, the that, right? So when there's addiction, that becomes a problem. Now we have to look for a solution to kill the addiction. Now you have to look for something stronger. What the person will, feel interesting in or whatever that can kill that addiction of watching of pornography, watching of porn. Else, it's a problem. Okay,
you're talking about something, some kind of habit that will replace what we have,
of course,
as porn, and it must it be in the aspect of the sexuality of the person or something else?
It could be something else.
Okay, now triggers. Now this is something that is very, 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 very pivotal to the subject of pornography. Triggers. To those, where do one start from? To those who are already inclined to pornography, and possible, what will I call it now? They are already addicted and cannot find an easy way out of it. How do they overcome? Is there a minor or a micro step they will start taking to start? I know you are not in the field of sexual education. Now, but as a doctor, you can tell us something relating to what you know about how the brain functions, on easy way out, or simple steps one could take, before I come to the subject of triggers.
So there is no shortcut.
At all.
There's no shortcut. I'm not going to say this to patronize anybody, but this is a harsh reality. The only way to get out of sexual addiction or pornographic addiction is to acknowledge that it is a problem. If the individual does not acknowledge that there's a problem, we're not going anywhere with the solution.
That's true.
Because you cannot, like we put it in our local language, you cannot force a horse to drink when you force it to the stream. The best you can do is to drag the horse to the stream, but you can't force the horse to drink water. So even if you bring a therapist or you bring a program for recovery from an addiction, if the person is not acknowledging that this is a problem, you're going nowhere with your solution.
That's true.
And so the very first step is to acknowledge that I have a problem. And as much as possible, I need to solve that problem. And that problem is pornography. I'm distracted from everyday life. I am not able to do my regular activities. I spend most of my monies and time on pornographic content. Then there's a problem. It's like people talk about football and they're able to tell you about who scored a particular goal in a particular semi-final match in USA 94. There are people I've met in my lifetime that can tell you about different porn stars and what they did in several seasons or episodes. It feels like a gift. That's how much addiction you can find. They tell you, no, she didn't do that. It ended with her doing this to him now. And you're like, really? Say yes, check. The one they did in 2019, check. She now upgraded in 2020. She did breast enlargement. And there are people like that. So they have them, how they follow these people on Instagram and so on. There are people like that. So you can't describe or prescribe an easy way out in that situation. You cannot cast and bind. No, you can't cast and bind. Because this is a religious platform, so we need to explain certain things. We will pray, all right, and we expect the power of God to do more signs and wonders and miracles and all of that. But God has also given wisdom, and we cannot tell God how He would choose to bring deliverance or healing to a person's life. We can tap into medical knowledge, we can tap into science, and we have seen by far that recovery from addiction is success. Person who is motivated, going through therapy. Sometimes medications can help based on the other associations the person would have gotten himself or herself into. Associations, I mean, there's use of drugs, there's love for too many women in the same space to actually carry out these activities. There's quest for new pornographic content. There's the desire to want to be in a pornographic content, video, and all of that. So it can come in with counseling, and it can also come in with medication, and that can bring some huge success. There are 1,000,001 things we can do to recover such person.
Thank you very much. Now, quickly before we go on, I know I mentioned about micro steps now. In closing and in summary, do you think there are basic triggers? You talked about some adverts where certain things or some pictures or images depicting some products where they may appear to be sexual, but they were not intended to be pornographic. Now, could they be triggers? As small as a lady with just a foot showing bare, or a curvaceous outfit or outlook, could they be classified as triggers to those people who are now addicted to pornography?
I'm worried about saying yes or no. I'd like to explain this. Some sexual content are so creative that they can dress someone in a priestly robe, say a nun for instance, and all of the activity that happens in the video requires her to only lift her skirt. And people are drawn to those kind of content. And you're happy because it's happening in a monastery, it's happening at the back of the church, or it happened inside the baptistry, and someone's head is out looking and you're sure nobody's. And you call that a quickie, for instance, and it's a 2-minute video, a 3-minute video, but she's all dressed up. Hello? So it's the addictive content in the mind that is now saying, anyhow it is, it's okay as long as they're doing this stuff. So it may not necessarily be that she's wearing a super short skirt, that's the problem, that's the trigger. It's just about anything sexual. And at that point, the addiction is huge. Dopamine is pumping in excess. And the whole mind, body, and soul says, don't stop, I need to watch more. That's where the problem really is. So those things are the triggers. So anything suggestive of sexual content can be termed to be a trigger. The fact that even a regular husband and wife they're celebrating a particular thing and kiss in public can be a simple trigger for such persons. The fact that a girlfriend is disrespectful to her boyfriend and the boyfriend becomes violent can be a trigger, because sometimes these videos portray those things. I'll give you an example. I had to speak with the person who described this moment for me. How a nurse in the hospital was rude to a patient, and in trying to deal with the patient dealt with her by having sex. Right? So she was the one being rude and being all insulting, and teaching her a lesson was all of that transpired. So if you prefer if a person prefers those kind of content, abusive relationship is a trigger for wanting to have sex. There are sexual contents that depict people with amputation, one eye, twisted. One thing is just abnormal, but they are in sexual content. And they are drawn to people they see on the road as, we don't call them less privileged, as people with special needs, if you like. And they are drawn to those kind of people. So triggers could be about anything because the mind wants to absorb more of that. And so that's what it is.
Oh, thank you very much. That's quite educational. Here at Adventist Singles World, we discuss every topic that borders around your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your economic, and as well your social state. Remember to follow us on all our socials at Adventist Singles World, on Instagram, on YouTube at Adventist Singles World, and on Facebook at Adventist Singles World. Yeah. Now, on the note of closing, I want to turn over to you now, Queen. As a single sister, you met someone, or someone comes to you and shares this audio on pornography. What would you do with such a person?
Okay. First of all, we'll initiate an interaction with the person. So while we initiate interaction, we'll do what is called counseling section with the person, after which we could do linking up to a professional, either a psychologist, Then, once in a while, we need to do follow-up, because these people, they actually need a friend, they need someone that could, a mentor, someone that could talk to them, a close confidant, someone that they could tell anything to. So even when sometimes they may need assistance of the social welfare, if we have those contacts, we could link them up to, social welfare, But then the best thing too, we try to talking them into, getting rid of the bonds in their phones, in their laptop, in their computer, what have you. We encourage them to either join a support group. We advise them to replace that habit to maybe the habit of watching the phone with a healthy habit.
Sports.
Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you very much. I want to thank now our discussants, those who have been really discussing this subject of pornography, for coming on set. So first, Queen Ugoku, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Dr. Seki, thank you for your very, very incisive information that you've given to us on the subject of pornography. And we hope to have you more on this set as time goes on. Okay. So viewers, thank you very much for viewing. And to come your way next time, we say stay blessed, remain tight in the Lord, and be strong. Bye.
Hi, my name is Brain Wandieze, co-director Adventist Singles World Online. We are here to inform all our friends, all our followers on social media, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, that we will be bringing live sessions on salient issues affecting singles and married. We're looking forward to seeing you as you join us on these live sessions. You can follow us on all our socials at Adventist Singles World on Instagram, Adventist Singles World on YouTube, Adventist Singles World on Facebook, as we're bringing you live events, program, people, experiences shared here on Adventist Singles World. We look forward